Buying a game is a one-time payment. You give your money and you get your entertainment. But if you were given a choice between making pointless purchases on the game you just bought or saving your remaining money, what would you do? The logical answer is a resounding no, and in many game genres people, as expected, don't spend that extra money. But in the case of first-person shooters, there is a large percentage of players that spend $20, $50, or even hundreds of dollars on purchases that aren't at all necessary. Today I'll be talking about why this is and how these purchases are often marketed in a predatory way. Okay, so let's start with the why. What is something everyone likes? Stuff. But what do they like more than stuff? Stuff that looks cool. Now, if everybody likes stuff and stuff that looks cool, eventually people will try to get cooler stuff than those around them. Now let's imagine that someone that likes cool stuff is working from home on their laptop. They sign in, open Zoom, and sit there for 6 hours a day. The only thing their coworkers see is their shirt, their face, and their background. So if this person wants everyone to see what cool stuff they have, what's the best thing to do? Well, make your background really nice. So this person and millions of others look up videos on YouTube about good backgrounds. They then go to Walmart, buy a bunch of fake plants and lights, and come back to work the next day, happier than the day before. Now if you think about it, this person could have sat there with a gray stone wall as their background and they would be just fine. But instead they now have a new background that they like the look of. Because they like it, they feel like everyone else does too. This, of course, makes them feel better. Now let's apply this to games. In order to make an unnecessary purchase in a video game, the customer usually has to be putting enough time into the game to feel the purchase is worth it. The minimal time investment differs from person to person, but I'd say it's about 5 hours a week. If they were just playing for an hour or two every once in a while, they won't be getting the satisfaction of themselves or others looking at their purchase very often, so it doesn't seem worth it to spend the extra money. This means the average customer of in-game items probably plays the game a lot, and the more you play the game, the more tired of each purchase you'll get. Let's say you buy a skin for a gun in Rainbow Six Siege. You play the game every day and you see the skin you bought pretty often. Eventually, you're so used to seeing it that it fades into the background and you feel like purchasing something new, and so the cycle continues. The thing is, you aren't just purchasing skins for the feeling of something new. In FPSs especially, highly sought after cosmetics create competition. To have more rare skins than somebody else is something to be proud of. It suggests you're more experienced in the game than someone who has less good skins than you. But purchases in games aren't all cosmetic. In the worst cases, you can buy things that actually give you a big advantage in any competition. Of course, cheats fall into this category. You pay an external seller and then you get something like aimbot, wall hacks, etc. But what feels even worse to me is when this advantage is sold inside the game itself. Warzone is a good example, but of course it's not the only game with this issue, so don't get pissed at me for saying this. In the premium battle pass there have been weapon blueprints with otherwise inaccessible attachments, granting those willing to pay for it an unfair advantage. There have also been a few skins that blend into the background a little too well. I've also experienced this issue a lot in Rainbow Six Siege. In the moment, losing because of these things will probably make you mad at the person using them, but really the game devs are at fault. The player is simply taking advantage of the resources around them. So really, it comes down to the decisions of large game companies like Riot, Epic Games, EA, Respawn, Ubisoft, etc. There are legitimately talented people designing products for them, and as long as that continues, people will keep spending money, and those companies know this. In the current free-to-play dominated market, in-game transactions feel more predatory, but these transactions are easily justified by large companies. After all, you don't have to make any of these purchases, but don't you want to have more cool stuff than everybody else?